Jamaican ghost stories that will keep you up at night. Requests from the afterlife. Full story. A woman passed away from colon cancer in 2013. Let's call her Betty. Betty had 10 kids. At the time she passed away, she was staying with her daughter. 2 siblings couldn't be found. 5 were overseas, 1 died, and the other didn't want the responsibility. She wanted to spend 2 weeks with her daughter, but ended up spending a year and passing away in her house. About 2 days after Betty died, her daughter dreamt that she came in the house and was heading to her bedroom. Her daughter backed her up and told her that she didn't want her in her room. Betty sat in the chair in her daughter's living room and told her daughter that she was tired and asked her about a particular dress that she loved. Her daughter told her where it was and Betty disappeared. Before Betty died, she told her daughter that she wanted to be buried in red and white, and her casket must be painted in red and white. Her children followed everything to a T, except they couldn't get a red or white bed slippers, so another daughter bought a yellow bed slippers, and she was buried in that. A few days after her funeral, her daughter had a dream that Betty and her brother came to look for her, but she couldn't see her brother's face. He stood at the gate while Betty came to the door and said a semi-dress mismatch when me aga church. Why una put yellow slippers pon me? The daughter had an open-toe red heels at the time. Betty said, that red shoes you have in your room, bring it come give me. She gave it to her and she disappeared. The daughter threw away those shoes the next day. Betty had a man who was the stepfather to her children. They were married for 22 years, but he had a woman with her before she died. At Betty's funeral, he was at her casket for a while before he moved. It was later found out that he had placed something in her hands to prevent her from troubling him. One night, he brought his woman and her child to the house. They put the child in what was the matrimonial bedroom, and he and his woman slept in another room. At about 2 in the morning, his woman started screaming, saying she saw a woman in full white, huffing and puffing by the door. The man instantly felt a hard lick in his face. By 8 in the morning, the eye where he got the lick was swollen shut for about 3 days. He had to consult Betty's pastor, who then gave him an olive oil to rub it. That's how it draw down. He told Betty's daughter a few days after that his woman went through his closet, took out all of Betty's clothes and burned them. That was a bad idea. It is recommended that when a family member passes, you don't burn nothing for them, throw them away instead. About 2 years later, Betty came to her daughter in a dream crying that she couldn't go by the yard, and how the stepfather cursing her. She said that she followed him to the farm to pick breadfruit. The daughter called her stepfather the next day and asked him why he's cussing her mother. He was taken aback and asked how she knew that. He started to question her if such and such a person called her and tell her. She asked him again if he was cussing her mother, and he said yes, because she give away a lot of stuff that he now needs and can't find. She asked him when last he went to the farm to pick breadfruit, and he said last week. She told him that her mother dreamed her and tell her, and he was shocked. He said that he couldn't believe because from Betty passed away, she never once dreamed him. Someone told the daughter that because he stopped Betty from coming to the house, she wouldn't dream him.
Follow Jamaican True Stories on YouTube. Link in bio.